What's going on, beautiful people? Y'all, go and join my Golden Visions FX Academy chat. I got something special for my new members that join. I'll be dropping it later on in the chat. You'll be able to download it for free. This chat eventually I'll be dropping some signals in the group, just some valuable resources and just building a Forex community. So y'all join. We're going to go up from here. I appreciate y'all.
They're up and at 'em early this morning in Como. 9:15 in the student section was packed and ready to rock for the biggest game of the year in Missouri basketball. It's #1 Kansas in town at 7-1 to take on 7-1 Missouri in a series that dates to 1907. With that, we welcome you inside sold-out Mizzou Arena. This is the SEC on ESPN, and this is one of the greatest rivalries in all of sports. Welcome courtside, everybody. Tom Hart alongside Fran Fraschilla. It's not just about sports. When these two institutions get together, it's a rivalry that dates to the Civil War. And Fran, the basketball side of it may not be as savage, but it's still just as important to some.
You and I know rivalries. This is a bitter rivalry because everybody, fans, players, coaches, media, they know what this game means to both states.
It's an opportunity for Missouri against #1 and a Kansas team that this student section knows very well. Jayhawks coming off of a loss against Creighton, and Missouri coming off of an improbable second-half comeback against Cal. Should be a fun one today, and if you like point guard play, it will be a fun contrasting styles between Anthony Robinson II and homegrown DeJuan Harris Jr., Columbia native, suiting up for the Jayhawks.
DeJuan Harris has won 81% of his high school and college games, and of course, he went to high school about 2.9 miles from where we are this morning.
About 2.9? Did you make that jog?
Exactly, I did.
Josh Gray will jump center against Hunter Dickinson as we get set for Missouri and Kansas. Missouri has 4 wins against the #1 team in their history. 3 of them came against the Jayhawks. Here's DeJuan Harris, won a state championship playing for Jim Scanlon at Rockbridge High School. Back cut and an easy look for Zeke Mayo.
They took Missouri's half-court pressure, use it against them.
They're the starters for the Tigers, who started the season with a loss at Memphis. That was part of a 20-game losing streak. Missouri didn't win a game in conference last year. Whoa! They added Mark Mitchell from Duke, and he's a difference maker.
Well, what he is a downhill driver. Likes to shoot the 3, but he's better getting to the paint. Great start.
Shot clock to 10. Dickinson with the touch and a feed to Harris. Harris needed 21 shots to get 15 points against Creighton. A rip away and a loose ball, and Missouri with great defense. Josh Gray, 7-footer. And the feed stolen away by Harris.
He's done that 10,000 times, especially in this community. Remember, Missouri throws 3 7-footers at Hunter Dickinson today. 15 fouls.
A.J. Adams off the mark. Rebounded by Gray, transferred over from South Carolina. Tony Perkins with the start today. He's an Iowa transfer. He's used to big games in the Big Ten. They're hoping he brings some energy here early on.
How about David Coit, the transfer from Northern Illinois, making a start for Bill Self.
Tamar Bates for 3. Got it. A Kansas City native. Bates has Missouri up 5-2 early. Adams going to work, stolen away. Robinson got his hands on another. Bates downhill. Loose ball, and Kansas wins the floor burn game. Here come the Jayhawks the other way. 3-on-3.
Got to move that ball.
Dickinson flush.
Well, I thought Zeke Mayo took his time, but in taking his time, he was able to allow Dickinson to get inside.
We'll see 2 of the top scorers in Division I active today, including Dickinson, who leads the country in points. Here's Bates.
Good matchup. But now they switch.
Working on Mayo. Turns into a fadeaway. And it rolls home for Tamar Bates. Got 5 early for the 6th-year senior at a Piper High School in Kansas City. Harris behind Dickinson. Tigers cover it well. Back to Harris. Hand off to Coit. Long 2. And Adams wins the rebound. Second chance, no. Missouri gave up a 17-0 run to Cal at the end of the first half on Tuesday night. They shot the lights out in the second, and they're continuing that trend to start this game. Mitchell fouled. First on K.J. Adams. Well, Bill Self certainly appreciates this rivalry. We talked to him about it before the game. He played in the Big 8 at Oklahoma State. He said, a badge of honor. Norm Stewart called me the dirtiest player in the league. He's a Hall of Famer, and he's got 802 wins and a couple titles.
And he overall, ready for this, 21-4 against Mizzou. And he's a guy that once interviewed for the head coaching job here.
Missouri hired Quinn Snyder instead. He was an assistant at Duke at the time.
Tommy,
went to Illinois, then to Kansas.
Exactly. I love the fact that Mitchell has gone to the rim hard early, and in doing so, got to pick up one on K.J. Adams.
Committed to play for Mike Krzyzewski at Duke. That coaching change occurred. He didn't like the fit, even though he was a 2-year starter at Duke.
Good for everybody. Good for Duke, good for Missouri.
Harris loses 2 Tigers. A drive and a kick. Pump fake 3. And Kansas not shooting the ball well at the outset. And that will go the opposite way.
Great job here by Juwan Harris. Anthony Robinson has been terrific as a sophomore, but that time a little too aggressive. And Harris held his spot. This is fun.
Robinson, just a sophomore, didn't back down afterwards, going against Juwan Harris Jr. Harris had 5 turnovers his first 2 games, only 5 since. Dickinson, limited touches against Creighton in the loss at Omaha. Coit for 3. Jayhawks 0 for 3 from behind the arc.
This is one of the fastest playing tempo teams in the country, Missouri. And yet when they get into half court, they're going to spread you out and play 5 out. A lot of pick and roll.
3rd in the country in scoring, 91 a game. Gray got his hand on it, but knocked it out of bounds. What a start in Columbia. And Missouri with a 5-point lead on #1 early. It's a homecoming for Juwan Harris Jr., his 2nd game inside Mizzou Arena as a Jayhawk. As Fran mentioned, he played just down the road. Rockbridge High School here in Columbia won a state championship. State championship not on this floor, is down in Springfield at Missouri State. This is a guy able to win that state championship. They went 25-3. He's got school records in assists and steals. How has his role evolved over the years in Lawrence?
He is now we put a lot of stats up there, which he's earned, but to me, he's a no stats all-star. He's a guy whose contribution to a team belies the numbers. He's a winner.
Missouri gave him the 3 2 years ago. He hit 3 in the first half. They defended him better last year. Dickinson throws away the high-low pass.
One thing that's happened early is Hunter Dickinson playing away from the basket, and probably not his strength, although we know he can shoot it, but with Gray inside at 7 feet, I think he's got to go at Gray, and they have to play through Hunter inside to outside.
By the way, Rylan Griffin is on the floor, number 6 for Kansas for the first time. He missed the last game of flu symptoms against Creighton. Mitchell into the paint. Wow, going to work. And Griffin played for Nate Oates at Bama and went to a Final Four with him last year with the rebound.
Yeah, but I like that strategy going inside. They have an attack here.
Robinson digs in. Mayo Dumps it off for Adams. Dickinson on the glass. No. Gray badly. And Josh Gray wins this battle with Hunter Dickinson.
Exactly why he's playing.
Gray only had 2 points and 4 fouls in Missouri's win against Cal on Tuesday night. Didn't play much in the second half.
That's because they brought another 7-footer in.
They got loads of them.
Yep.
Like Gary Leonard clones out there. Here's Gray. Looking to dish. And Perkins. Shot clock late. Gray on the glass. Robinson had a sensational second half. Harris all over him, and even with Harris in his pocket, Robinson got it home.
Smart play, because if he had passed it out, it would have been automatically a 3-second violation.
Tigers on a 6-0 run. Dickinson for 3. Whoa, that'll help. This is 4th of the year.
As good as he can shoot it at times, I'm not sure Dennis Gates minds that at all, because Dickinson can do damage much more inside.
It's the first make of the last 8 Kansas attempts. Robinson got a bump, sold it a bit, and gets the whistle.
Josh Gray has cut off the inside momentarily. Watch him back off right here. And a good job by Hunter to knock it down. You mentioned 4 this year. In the past, Tommy, he's been pretty effective out there.
He only had 6 against Creighton's second lowest points in his Kansas run over the last couple of years. Robinson to the free throw line. This is something Missouri does really well, getting the line.
Today, going into this game, they get 13 more points a game from the line than Kansas does. And they live at the foul line.
And Robinson gets the first one to go. They are leading the nation in free throws made, second in free throws attempted. Dennis Gates, up and down career so far in Missouri. 2 years ago, they went to the tournament. They had a magical run. He was named by at least one account SEC Coach of the Year. Last year, they didn't win a game in the SEC. 0-18.
Now, one of the reasons they'll win a few more this year is the young man at the foul line from Tallahassee, Florida, the sophomore. Great sports family, tutored by a Heisman Trophy winner, Charlie Ward, in high school, his basketball coach.
Jayhawks shooting just 27% to start this game. Denied and taken away. Aiden Shaw step through jam. They're getting rambunctious in Como. 8-point Mizzou lead. Kansas fan has turned it over 4 times. Denied again. Mitchell, coast to coast, and another whistle, another trip to the free throw line. More importantly, second on KJ Adams.
Let's go back and watch Shaw the first time. Lazy pass in the passing lane. Here comes the Kansas City native, finishing at the rim. The defense early by Missouri, absolutely suffocating.
There's a timeout on the floor. They are riled up. Missouri up 8 on number 1 Kansas. Missouri with a burst out of the gate, 15-7 lead against number 1 Kansas. And take you back to February of 1997. Kansas came to the Hearn Center 22-0, number 1 in the country. But Dee Murdoch and Missouri against Jacques Vaughn and a loaded Kansas team took it to double overtime, where Corey Tate threw in the game winner off a loose ball. And a Missouri team with Jason Sutherland, Kelly Thames, Derek Grimm, the legendary Chip Walther, and of course Norm Stewart and Roy Williams took down a Kansas team, Fran, that was loaded. Rafe LaFrance, Jacques Vaughn, Paul Pierce.
Well, sometimes in a rivalry like this, talent is negated by the hostility and intensity. And by the way, speaking of hostility and intensity, we want to send our very best to Norm Stewart. A little under the weather today, so we didn't get a chance to see him. But Coach Stewart, one of the all-time greats in the Big 8, made this rivalry special.
No doubt about it. We know he was watching the game today. He was 34 and 34 against Kansas, both a coach and a player.
Remember, K.J. Adams just picked up 2 fouls.
On Harris from the corner. Offensive board.
Oh, yes.
Followed by a foul on Tony Perkins.
I'm telling you, you are going to love this kid. He is going to be a star. There's K.J. Adams. He's picked up 2. We will see him back in the first half, I think. But Flory Badunga, he is a rebounding machine. And assuming he comes back for the sophomore year, which I believe he will, he is going to be a great player.
Two-time Indiana Gatorade Player of the Year at Kokomo High School. The McDonald's All-American, second one coming. 30th annual Jimmy V Men's Classic returns to the Garden Tuesday night on ESPN and the app. 6:30 Eastern. Miami takes on a Tennessee team that will probably be number 1 when the polls come out next. Then at 9 Eastern, it's Michigan taking on John Calipari in Arkansas. To donate to the Jimmy V Foundation, go to v.org. 1 for 2 from the line to Badunga.
Now Kansas has to stop turning it over, and they need to make sure they keep the ball out of the paint.
Missouri in the second half against Cal went 16 of 17 at the rim. That keyed their comeback. They had 50 points in the paint out of the 98 they scored. Mitchell taking over. Left it short. Good D by Badunga.
And I like this. If I'm Mark Mitchell, I continue to attack the paint and those Kansas big guys. Good defense by the freshman.
Mitchell, Kansas City native, played at Bishop Miege before going to Sunrise Christian for a year. Where does KU go with this lineup on the floor? Storr nearly walked with it and threw it in.
KU does not get to the foul line, Tommy. 9 fast points all season long a game. And I think in a game like this, you've got to be the more aggressive team. Early, it's certainly Mizzou.
Missouri shooting 50%, Kansas just 31%. Tigers would run the clock again. Here's Mitchell. To the logo. And he's going to the line.
No reason to foul him right there. You've got Mitchell spinning. He's going to take a tough shot, and A.J. Storr bails him out. What you love about Missouri and the way they play, they want to get up and down fast in the first 5 seconds, and then they will grind you in the half court to get to the foul line in the final 30 seconds.
So here's Mark Mitchell at the free throw line. 2 years at Duke playing for John Shire. And the word is that he wanted to get away from the post, be able to develop a little bit more. And I was taking advantage of that here.
Yeah, but I think what he's doing here is, and we've seen it early, he's a big, strong driver. He was awful from the three-point line at Duke.
25% from the line this year. 1 of 2. Mark Mitchell rated the number 7 transfer in the country coming into this season. Tigers been to the free throw line 8 times, Kansas only twice. And a throwaway by A.J. Storr, turnover number 5 in the first 10 minutes for the Jayhawks. Pardon me, 6.
These transfers have got to play better. Storr, Griffin, Coit, they were brought here to provide some depth for the big 3. They did not show up against Creighton, and so far early, they're not playing well.
Bates got it again. He's used every bit of the rim. Missouri made only 3 threes against Cal. They've already hit a couple of this one. Harris goes right down the lane. And he got a whistle on Mark Mitchell. And it'll put Juwan Harris at the free throw line.
Well, I like that if you're Kansas. If those perimeter guys are not knocking down open threes, get the ball in the basket. Here comes Harris. Not a lot of contact. I think Badunga would have cleaned it up anyway, put it back in, but fortunate that he got to the line. But I like the aggressiveness.
Harris had 15 points against Creighton, but just 6 of 21 from the floor. They gave him the floaters all night.
They gave him some, and he usually makes them, Tom.
85% from the line coming in. Dickinson returns.
And I'll say this one time. When you transfer to Kansas, and all these guys came in with credentials. You have to understand that every single game you play in a Kansas uniform is usually the biggest game on the opponent's schedule. Got to be ready for that.
Certainly was the case Tuesday at Creighton. Harris 1 of 2 from the line, and undoubtedly is the case this afternoon here in Columbia.
By the way, they were terrific against Duke in Vegas.
Robinson using the screen for Marshall. Dickinson with a rejection sent Robinson to the floor.
Yeah, but Griffin got beat off the dribble, which has been a problem on the perimeter. Luckily, Dickinson cleans it up. Can't get into the paint that easily. And a good job by Dickinson. There's more contact on that drive than on Harris's drive. So a good job by Hunter to protect the paint.
First floor action for 21 Peyton Marshall, 7-foot, 300-pound center, St. Louis native. Played his college ball at Georgia, high school ball. Bates now has double figures.
Another example of guarding the perimeter, and the smaller point had no chance. That defense has to tighten up. Otherwise, this is going to be a blowout.
Largest lead of the game for Mizzou. Tipped away by Bates. And an open floor foul on the freshman Peyton Marshall, lumbering down the middle of the court.
He's a young guy, and Dickinson saw him coming. And it's hard to stop a 300-pound body. Take a look. Easy call right here. Watch the big fella running down. And Dickinson, smart play. Dennis Gates went right to Marshall and said, hey, got to have some court awareness.
There's a challenge playing young guys in this game, in this environment.
Without a doubt. I mean, the only way you figure it out is to go through it. Great defense.
Zeke Mayo gives it up to Storr, former Wisconsin Badger. Dickinson kicks it out. Coit, second chance, takes advantage of the mulligan.
Now, you got to keep shooting the open threes, but you also got to play from the paint out. Good job that time by Coit.
Marquez Warwick, transfer from Northern Kentucky, the second active leading scorer in college basketball now. Number 1 on the floor for Missouri. Bates is playing inspired, and he's able to draw the foul on A.J. Storr. That is his second on Storr.
Now, if you haven't watched Missouri this year, you understand why they go to the foul line so much. Everything is to the paint.
Third in the country in scoring, first in the country in field goal percentage. And second in the country in made free throws. Tamar Bates hit the free throw line. 93% of the year. He set a Missouri record last year. And he broke Brian Grauer's old school record for consecutive made free throws. He shot 92.6 from the line.
He's one of the team leaders, and keep in mind, they're playing without Caleb Grill today. Their leading scorer, who is also one of those guys that certainly understands the rivalry with Kansas after his time at Iowa State.
Yeah, Iowa State, grew up in Wichita. He's probably another couple of weeks away from returning. KJ Adams back on the floor with 2 for him.
Yeah, not a surprise. Look at this. This is unbelievable.
Robinson got his hands on another. And the sophomore with the flush. 12-point Mizzou lead. 8 Kansas turnovers. Adams and 1.
Watch the pressure now. Folks in the SEC, you're going to love Anthony Robinson. He is quickly becoming a great facilitator. He's a great defender and a great competitor. I mentioned Charlie Ward, who was I'll never forget when Charlie was drafted by the Knicks. I was excited because I'm a Jets fan. I said, the Knicks don't need him, the Jets need him.
Put the Heisman Trophy winner under center.
Yeah, but a great mentor to this young man.
His dad, Anthony, was the baseball coach at FAMU. He grew up in Tallahassee, went to Florida State University High School right there on campus. Adams with a chance for a three-point play. Only 4 points in the Creighton loss for Adams. Dickinson had only 6.
Kansas has to settle down right now. What they need is some stops, and they have to keep the ball out of the paint off the dribble. Their guard defense early has not been good.
Missouri shooting 57% from the floor. The Tigers have made 5 of their last 7. Perkins denied. Second block for Dickinson.
And a good job by Griffin to slow him down. Nice cut.
Adams stepped on the inline. It's another KU turnover. Jayhawks, their second straight sloppy game, 9th turnover of the night. Missouri has taken advantage. It's the Tigers by 9. And Missouri's pressure defense paying dividends.
9 turnovers, 8 points off turnovers. And very, very active early. Obviously some sloppy play by Kansas. They've got to clean that up if they're going to get back in this game. Lots of time left, but certainly those guards particularly need an intervention as far as taking care of the basketball.
Missouri with a 9-point lead. Kansas is 10th in the country in turnovers. They're almost at their season average. It's a Kansas team that did not shoot the ball well in the Creighton loss. They shot just 36%. You mentioned being Kansas, having a target on your back. You go into Omaha, target on your back. Pop Isaacs, who's now lost for the year, had a monster game for Creighton.
Yep.
Ryan Kalkbrenner went for a double-double. People seem to play well, and players get up for this opportunity.
Have to. And in this particular rivalry, I mean, the bitterness is palpable. You and I both know that. We've been through this.
Tony Perkins with the lob. It was Whittle on the push. Yeah. And that is the third. Oh, let's see if it was on Adams.
Passmore got him.
Okay.
Watch the lob. And at the very end, the freshman Passmore just reaches out. Probably saves a lob dunk. And inbounds under.
Dennis Gates trying to deliver a hammer coming out of the timeout. Gray back on the floor for Missouri, and a hold coming off the screen. Ryland Griffin's first.
No reason to do that. Kansas bench apoplectic right there. Ryland just reached out and grabbed him. I think are they gonna look at this? I don't, it's a common foul to me, but Ryland did grab him for no reason.
You think this could be upgraded to a flagrant if it wasn't a basketball play?
They're going to look at it.
Foul. The player's under review to see if it's upgraded to a flagrant one.
It's the voice of Pat Adams.
Yeah, when I saw it, the first reaction is, why are you grabbing him? And to me, it wasn't enough that led to the level of a flagrant one, but we'll see it. You be the judge, Tommy. I say no. And that's the very end of it.
My guess is the reason they went to the monitor was the contact near the head.
For sure, for sure. And that's a reason that they may upgrade it because it's excessive. But here's the bottom line. There is no reason to grab a guy coming off a screen. You get in his back numbers, you caboose him, that's what we call it, and you chase him off the screen. When you reach out and grab him, you're playing poor defense. Just watch. Then why? Why? You played in the Final Four last year.
Ryland Griffin started the first 5 games this year for Kansas. Was out with the flu in the Creighton game Wednesday night. That was a 76-63 Blue Jays win.
I still think, to me, it's a common foul. But that's not my choice right here. That's why Pat Adams.
So you wouldn't be surprised if it gets elevated?
I would not be surprised.
Pat Adams, Byron Jarrett, and Owen Short are officiating crew this afternoon in Columbia. Missouri's in the bonus regardless.
Yeah, Dennis Gates waiting patiently.
This is a series that Kansas holds the all-time advantage in by a wide margin, but especially in the renewal of the rivalry, they haven't been close. So Missouri turning the tables in this one this afternoon.
All right, they have upgraded it because of the contact above the neck. So it's going to be 2 free throws. And let's take a look right here. Because he's up above the neck, that's why they upgraded it.
So 2 coming for Tamar Bates.
It'll be 2, and I believe if they're in the bonus, it'll be 2 more. 1 and 1.
After review, this foul is going to be upgraded to a flagrant 1. It's going to be 2 shots and then the ball out of bounds.
Okay.
Tamar Bates does not mind Pat Adams making the announcement. Elevation of the flagrant gives possession to Missouri.
I don't think the ball's going to be out of bounds. I think the foul was the 7th. It's got to.
The elevation of the flagrant.
Well, and then it's got to be going to be 2 free throws and the ball underneath.
Yeah.
My point if you're Kansas now is you've got to start to figure out how to guard here.
Missouri 8 of 15 from the floor. Tigers 2 of 4 from 3.
There's so much time left in this game for Kansas, but they've got to clean some stuff up.
Mismatch. Here comes Dickinson to help Harris. Perkins baseline. Beautiful reverse by Tony Perkins.
And that time Passmore got beat off the dribble. This is an epidemic defensively right now. It's not just the turnovers.
Kansas came into the week ranked number 1. Missouri basketball off the carom.
Watch Passmore on the baseline. You can't guard this way.
Jayhawks have turned it over 10 times in the first half. That's more than their per-game average this season. There's still 7 minutes to play before intermission.
And listen, this is a brilliant start for Missouri. We watched practice yesterday, locked in, intense. They've got depth, and the game plan has been perfect.
Bates uses Gray twice. Pull up mid-range. Gray on the glass. And a step on the end line by Kansas. It'll stay with the Tigers. Missouri's winning every loose ball.
Absolutely. And let's go back and talk about Josh Gray. You know, what did he average at South Carolina? 3 points, 3 rebounds, something like that?
Yeah, double figures 1 time.
Yeah. And what you love about him is the way Dennis Gates uses him is for energy on both ends. He's been great today. He might not score a point. He's already impacted this game.
Mitchell, pass Robinson. Anthony Robinson off the mark. And Perkins crashing in for the glass. Knocked it out of bounds. Jayhawks have never lost 2 straight games as AP number 1. And the only time they lost back-to-back games as number 1 when they were ranked 2 different times. Missouri is the one that did it.
Well,
that was over 2 different seasons.
Yeah, but 2 tough road games this week for sure.
And another Kansas turnover. It felt like they weren't entirely focused at Creighton, especially Adams and Dickinson. I'm surprised the number 1 team in the country does not have focus in this game.
Yeah, so is Phil himself, honestly. He really is. He's trying everything. I thought the effort at Creighton was lethargic, and I expected more today. But hey, more power to Missouri, who has come out like a prize fighter, and they're delivering haymakers right now. That's nice. Great screen by Gray on that drive.
Mitchell. That would have been house money. He's shooting 25% from deep. Tie game to Juan Harris. Hunter Dickinson has been more impactful on the defensive end. Harris floater. That was the game plan Missouri wanted to employ all game. They saw Creighton did it, and they thought, okay, we might have to tweak it just a little bit because they've already seen it.
That's right. No Dickinson because of the size inside. And those guards have not knocked down shots.
DeClement's on the floor for the first time. And he turns away Mitchell.
Still love the strategy of going at those Kansas bigs.
Denied by Perkins. Bates challenge three. Off of Gray, I believe. It will be Kansas basketball to Gray's dismay. 4 turnovers in the last 3 minutes and 10 seconds for Kansas.
Yeah. As I'm watching this game, I'm thinking about Dennis Gates. His first 2 games against Kansas have not gone well.
Nope.
And today, team is locked in. They were locked in yesterday. He's got depth. He's got a better team than a year ago, and I just love the way they're playing with intensity.
Dennis told us he was recruited by Roy Williams coming out of high school, but his question to the Hall of Fame coach was, would you allow a freshman to be a captain? And Roy just kind of laughed, said that we don't do that here. Another Kansas turnover. Bill Self uses a timeout. 13 turnovers in his first half. Missouri fans sensing something special. They got number 1 on the ropes in the first half.
Let's teach on a backdoor cut. When you backdoor, you must finish your cut because the passer doesn't know that you're stopping. And that's exactly what Hunter Dickinson is telling Zeke Mayo right now. We had the back cut, finished the cut, and more than likely Zeke Mayo would have gotten a layup right there. Not Hunter Dickinson's fault on that particular turnover.
130 career starts for Dickinson. Harris has 120. They've combined for 6 points.
Now, you can't play any worse if you're Kansas. And what you have to do is try to get this game under 10 by halftime, which is very doable. For Mizzou, keep the pressure on, and especially on offense. Move it, swing it, drive it.
Tigers have gone quiet on the offensive end, missed their last 5. Gray posting up, no touch for him.
Remember, Adams has 2. If I were Bates, I'd try to drive him.
Turns into a step-back 20-footer. There's the foul, the 3rd on Adams. A.J. Adams can't believe it.
Now, I want you to watch the replay after the first one because you've got to give the shooter room to land. But sometimes the shooter will kick that leg out. Let's just keep an eye on it. I think he still would have made contact, but got to give Bates credit. The veteran sold it. He sold it well, and KJ's got to know with 2 fouls you can't do that.
Bates' money from the line. Later tonight, best women's matchup on the schedule. Top 10 showcase from Tania Papau, 3rd ranked number 3, the reigning national champ South Carolina, taking on Haley Van Lith down the Big 12 and number 9 TCU in Fort Worth. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern, 6 Central on ESPN2 and ESPN Plus.
Tamar Bates, when we talked to the staff yesterday, they couldn't rave about his leadership enough. Former Indiana player, 2 years there. You mentioned Tommy coming home.
He was a Jordan Brand All-Star coming out of Piper High School and the Kansas side of Kansas City. Sloppiness continues. This is very un-Kansas-like.
Well, last, whatever it is now, 60 minutes has been bad basketball.
And a Missouri turnover.
I'll say it again because they have 5 new perimeter players that transferred in. And other than Griffin, who went through the SEC, this is a different animal when you play either in the Big 12 or in a rivalry game like this.
14 turnovers for Kansas, 4 for Missouri. Marcus Allen getting some run here. Guarding Harris. Boyd at 5'11", trying to find space. Nothing there. Good pump fake. Lemons got away with a hold. Tigers on a 6-0 run, despite the fact that they're just 1 for their last 7. Jayhawks have not been able to close the gap. Bates in traffic.
Tough shot. Pretty good defense, but Bates went right through Clemens.
Jayhawks scoreless over the last 5 minutes. Mayo all alone. And the Lawrence native out of Lawrence High School by way of South Dakota State's got 4 early.
Finally an easy basket by Kansas.
Well, this Missouri first half indicative of the dominance of the SEC this young season. Looking for another signature win as Dennis Gates tries to take down number 1.
As good as the defense has been, and there's no question it's been a Missouri clinic defensively, the sloppiness of Kansas is just, to me, very, very surprising. Obviously, Mizzou gets a lot of credit for it, no question about it.
Tamar Bates leading the way for the Tigers, and he's done it at the free throw line as much of anything. But Missouri has scored 95 points in their last 2 halves. Second half comeback against Cal. Missouri going deeper to the bench. Trent Pierce at 6'10" on the floor. This is a big lineup, and Mark Mitchell playing the 3 now. You see this lineup very often. Dennis Gates is a tinkerer, though. He's not afraid. Shot clock late. Robinson. Whoa! Right on the top of Mayo. Anthony Robinson beats a shot clock, and Missouri is putting on a clinic today.
You kind of knew when it left his hand, it was going in. It's been that kind of day. Can't say enough about that sophomore.
Tigers have hit 3 threes in the first half. They've hit 3 the entire game against Cal. Harris and the photographers after the bank shot. Mention the way Dennis Gates uses his bench. Because he subs so frequently, Missouri leads the country in bench points per game. They get more than 49 points a game from their subs. In fact, subs are outscoring starters by 7 a game for Missouri. Shot clock at 5. Here's Robinson again to Mitchell. It's at 1. Didn't find the rim. Shot clock violation.
With all that depth that you talked about, what I love about Dennis Gates is this guy, Anthony Robinson's on the floor a lot. And that maturation from his freshman year to early in his sophomore year has been very impressive. Tom, on both ends of the floor. We've seen the great defense, but he's become a terrific team leader and coming off a career-high 29 against Cal.
He had 4 points a game last year. He's tripled that this season, checking in at 12 a game. Coit off the mark with that 3. Dickinson, another offensive board. Harris wanted the screen. Around Dickinson, rejected by Mitchell. It would stay with KU with 1:06 left in the half.
And I thought when DeJuan Harris came off the ball screen, he could have dumped it. He had Dickinson right there. But remember, you're talking about 7 feet inside. I would have loved to have seen DeJuan to just drop it in, a little bounce pass to the big fella.
He's got a ton of experience. 88th consecutive start for DeJuan Harris this afternoon here in his hometown. Owen Short talking with Bill Self.
Trying to figure out why it's at 29. They've got to fix the shot clock.
Dennis Gates going to steal the timeout. Is there a chance that went off of Kansas instead of Missouri? Or is it
Make
simply
sure that the
clock
shot clock and game clock is correct.
There you go, Pat Adams. Thank you. I mentioned this a moment ago, but the SEC is having a knockout early start to the season.
Yep.
This would just be another feather in the cap for the league.
How about last night? How about Kentucky going out to Seattle, winning in overtime? Mark Pope, what an addition. I've seen Alabama up close, Auburn up close. Both of them are national championship contenders. Tennessee will be #1 tomorrow. My former boss, Rick Barnes. Right now, I believe the all-time record for NCAA teams from the conference is 11. Big East did it in 2011. And it's trending that way for the SEC without a doubt.
It's going to be 9 seconds on the shot clock. 9 seconds on the shot clock.
Every SEC team is within, depending on how often you refresh your browser, top 70 in the KenPom rankings.
Yeah.
That is postseason worthy even through the NIT.
Without a question. And this is the best start, I believe, ever for the SEC.
That'll help.
Now, if you're fortunate and you're Kansas, you get a stop, maybe you hit a shot, get it to within 10. But Mizzou, just can't argue about it, and that would help Kansas if they can score.
The Tigers getting sloppy. 5th turnover for Dennis Gates' team.
Something you don't see from Bill Self very often, but by necessity, they went to a little full court press and got the turnover.
Bale left his feet, turned it over. Here comes Mitchell. 15 first half turnovers. Skip to Bates. Here's Perkins. They get Gray a post touch with a little man on it. Extra pass. And a whistle on David Coit.
What a great possession by Missouri. Kansas never got out of the mismatch, and they should have switched it while the ball was out top. Coit stayed on the big fella, and then they just played right through the big guy.
What a half for Missouri. 14-point lead. Fran, there have only been 4 instances of an AP #1 team losing consecutive games to unranked opponents. That's where Kansas finds itself through one half today after the loss to Creighton. Most recently, Florida in December of 2003. Only 4 times #1 back-to-back losses to unranked.
How good has Mark Mitchell been today? Playing through the paint.
2-2 from the line now.
I mean, the reality is he might not have started this year at Duke, to be honest. So the fact that he's come home, close to home, and has fit right in like a glove, you know, kudos to him, kudos to Dennis Gates and that staff.
But to your point earlier, it works for both parties.
Absolutely.
Missouri has outscored its opponents over the last 2 halves, 102 to 66. Juan Harris. And a foul on Allen.
Probably not a bad play. The only reason I don't like that is because then now the next foul is a 7th.
Well, only 12 seconds left.
Yeah,
perhaps.
yeah. It didn't save a lot, but I understand it.
Jayhawks restart their offense. Now at 8. Harris behind Dickinson. Uses them again. Downhill with 4. All the way to the rim. 2 different Tigers on the floor. That's how the half will come to an end. 39-25 Missouri.
Missouri, not perfect, but really, really good. Kansas, you can't play any worse. A lot of discussion in that Kansas locker room by this guy, Bill Self. And we'll see if we see a different Kansas team. But what a great first half by this team, their coach. Game plan is right on target.
In 97, Missouri needed double overtime. Doesn't seem like that would be necessary. Well, before we go on to the second half, let's get to the studio. Full recap. Dallin Culp and Seth Greenberg. Gentlemen. From Columbia, Missouri, you're watching the SEC on ESPN. And in a rivalry that dates in 1907, Missouri looking for its 4th win against a #1 ranked Kansas team. And at the half, Tigers with a 14-point lead. Welcome, Tom Hart alongside Fran Fraschilla. Surprising first half in many ways. How can Missouri keep this up, and what does Kansas need to do to counter?
Well, Missouri's been the more aggressive team. 16-5 free throw attempts. They forced 15 turnovers. If you're Kansas right now and you only average 10 turnovers a game, every time you don't turn it over, you actually have a chance to score. They shot 42% from the field. It's not like they were, you know, they didn't do a good job there. They got to take care of the ball. For Missouri, they're going to keep the pressure on. This crowd's been electric. Kansas's transfers have to grow up this second half. There's no question about it.
I felt like Missouri played with a lot of emotion in the first half, and certainly that energy helped them on the defensive end.
They've been doing this since 1907, Tommy. There's been a lot of emotion in this series.
Even before basketball.
Yeah, but Kansas has to match that, no question about it.
Tigers with 24 points off of turnovers on average coming in, and they've got 14 through one half today.
And how about Tamar Bates? 18 in the first half. He needs to be slowed down.
Halfway to his career high of 36, did that against Florida last year. He really came on tail end of last season for a Missouri team that failed to win a Southeastern Conference game. In fact, their loss to Kansas in December put them on the slide. They only had one win after that, one non-conference win against an inferior opponent. First of two border rivals that Missouri will face in the month of December. They get Illinois in the bragging rights game right before Christmas in St. Louis. Just fell off the rim for Zeke Mayer.
I do like that they went to the basket. They make 9 free throws a game, which is one of the worst in the country. Kansas needs to play from the paint out. A good drive right there, but he's got to finish that.
Dickinson with 7 points for Kansas in the first half. He had 6 against Creighton. They sagged on him. Didn't get very many paint touches. Mid-range Perkins. Mitchell over Harris. Dickinson another block. Here's Kansas on the run out. Riley Griffin. And he walked with it. And Carmi double dribble and he went down hard. Lowest scoring half of the season for Kansas. It came on 42% shooting. And to your point, Fran, 15 turnovers. It's 15 missed possessions and then another just now.
Yeah, 16. That ties the season high. And listen, those are empty possessions you cannot afford on the road. But all credit goes to that Missouri pressure defense. And again, I mentioned Anthony Robinson with the ball. I love his game.
He was a great high school player. In fact, the winningest player in Florida prep history at Florida State University High. Bates off the window over Dickinson.
That's a great play. It's designed. Gray screens Dickinson, so when Bates gets to the rim, there's no rim protection. That is by design. Excellent design.
How key is Hunter Dickinson in a possible Kansas comeback today? And he's off the mark with the mid-range.
This is a danger zone for Kansas. And they can get blown out if things don't change.
Robinson in traffic. Two-hand flush for Mitchell. Mizzou by 18 early second half. Griffin rips the net for his first bucket.
I tell you, I always loved it when my team had a lead at the half. In the first 3 minutes, they came out ready to play. And that's what we've seen from Mizzou so far.
Robinson picked up his dribble, bailed out by Gray. Here's Mitchell, got Dickinson on him, wants to take him to the hoop. Goes right after him and one. Mark Mitchell has risen to the challenge today.
Missouri plays to the rim with force. They've done it all year. And today, they've probably amplified that with their aggressiveness. Watch Bates. Watch the drive and the seal by the big fella. And there's no way Dickinson can get back over the shot block it because it's a design. And Gray, I can't tell you how valuable he is. Mizzou fans are probably at times wondering why he plays so much, but you're seeing it in this game.
Without a bucket, yet impacting both sides of the floor. Dickinson on Mitchell. Took a victory lap.
I like the fact that Kansas is starting out going to the paint.
What do you like from Mizzou in the half court?
Keep it going. Move it side to side. They've been using the clock well, and their point guard play has been excellent.
Perkins steps through and gets it to go home. It is counterintuitive that Missouri can be the third best scoring team in the country at 91 a game, yet using so much clock. Here's a big reason why. Bates is steal. And one! And he's going to the line, and Missouri is red hot against number one.
Absolutely outstanding defense. Watch Bates shoot the gap. It's kind of deja vu today, and he's been on fire on both ends.
This place is rocking. It is a 20-point lead against hated rival in number one Kansas. Well, Missouri's Kansas City kids, Tamar Bates and Mark Mitchell, have been difference makers head-to-head with Kansas. They've outscored the Jayhawks by 5 themselves.
Yep, to say the least. And Tamar Bates, young man who came back from Indiana, he's been sensational. He has been all year. Great shooter, but really today also getting to the rim. And this is the reason they shoot so many free throws. They play to the basket, they play downhill. And Tom, when you're coaching a 14-point lead at halftime, it's easy to give up that 8-0 run to the opponent. You let up a little bit. The other coach is yelling at his team. Nothing of the sort the first 4 minutes of the second half. Missouri stayed and stepped on the gas.
Three-point play for Tamar Bates. Missouri's largest margin of victory against Kansas is 31. That came in 1916. That was a good pass. Dickinson never saw it. I asked you this before, but how invested does Hunter Dickinson need to be for Kansas to have a great season?
He's the focal point, and the problem right now is their guard play, frankly, is atrocious. And they're not good passers into the post. That must change. Otherwise, they're going to be a team that's going to be up and down all year. They'll win their home games.
No doubt.
But they got to go to places like Iowa State in January.
Mitchell denied by Dickinson again.
Well, they definitely have to play through Hunter, but they got to get the ball to him first. And obviously, the Tigers have a lot to do with that.
Harris left alone, drills the three. His first of the game.
Problem with Kansas is they're not a pressing team, so they can't speed you up the way many teams can. It's not how they normally beat you.
Tony Perkins picks up his dribble, tries a lob it to Gray. Gray ends up with the point-blank look. First bucket of the night. The grad student out of Brooklyn, New York, and another KU turnover, and it comes to the two most experienced players. Tigers by 20, all the momentum and all the feels in Como today. He's a cancer survivor. He's not at the game today. Our best wishes with him to feel better soon. But you remember the game in the late 80s where Norm fell ill on the plane on the way to Norman, Oklahoma. But Missouri, Kansas, and Oklahoma all traded the #1 ranking throughout the entire season.
And that was a game where Norm did not coach. They took him back to Columbia. Billy Tubbs coached the game for Oklahoma. They got blown out at home. Billy got ejected because he got the microphone and said, because they wanted him to say to the fans, please calm down. Stop.
They were throwing trash on the floor, yeah.
And Billy said, hey, no matter how bad the officiating is, you can't throw stuff on the floor. That got him a second technical foul.
You got to go.
That was a golden era of Big 8 basketball. Great coaches. And this guy, speaking of great, he's been great.
Dr. Detroit Rich Daly coached that one. DeJuan Harris lost his shoe as the interim head coach. He was a great recruiter for so many great Missouri teams under Norm.
I'll be honest, Tom, I don't have an answer for Kansas.
Storr with a sidewinder.
I mean, they're not making shots. They're not throwing it into Dickinson.
The largest margin of victory for an unranked team over #1 is 20. Perkins gets a bucket. The last time that happened, Fran, was 2018 UMBC in the 16-1 win over Virginia.
Wow.
Tigers have made 8 of 9 in a reach-in foul charge to Josh Gray.
I thought Kansas turned the corner in Las Vegas against Duke because their transfers were so important in that game. It's the game Dickinson was kicked out with 10 minutes to go. And the 2 games they played this week are emblematic of what they're going to see, at least in the upper half of the Big 12. Places like Baylor, Iowa State. So this does not bode well right now for them.
KJ Adams was saddled with foul trouble in the first half, picked up his 3rd at the 4:23 mark. He's got an and-one opportunity now.
Tommy, the problem for Kansas is Adams and Harris are 2 great role players. When you surround them with Christian Brown and Ochai Agbaji, guys like that, Dickinson for sure, and they're going to have to get more out of the 5 transfers.
Adams gets it to roll home. He's got a half dozen. 2 years ago, Adams had 19 against Missouri in this matchup here at Mizzou Arena. And I remember that game, Fran. Kansas is coming off of a Final Four appearance, and Dennis Gates is saying, you know what, our team is used to big games because we played in them at Cleveland State. And the Kansas players said, buddy, we just played in the Final Four. Kansas was up to the challenge. They didn't have any issues. Missouri was the one that came to play today. Harris gives it up. Extra pass, and Dickinson's got his 2nd triple of the game. And as Gates uses the timeout, it's a 5-0 KU run. More importantly, the Jayhawks have hit 4 of 5. Back to Columbia in a moment.
No matter what kind of teeth you gotta brush, Oral-B Electric cleans better with one simple touch. Oral-B's dentist-inspired round brush head hugs them, cleans them, and gets in between them for 100% cleaner teeth. Your perfect clean starts with Oral-B.
The power of Mando is now available in a spray. This innovative low pH formula stops odor before it starts anywhere on your body. With long-lasting cologne quality scents, men are loving this deodorant. It's the touchless way to apply whole body deodorant anywhere. Only available at shopmando.com.
This week on Monday Night Football, Joe Buck, Troy Aikman will be in Dallas for the Bengals and the Cowboys, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ABC, ESPN, ESPN Plus, and ESPN Deportes. Peyton and Eli on ESPN2 and ESPN Plus, and don't forget a Simpsons Fun Day football version on Disney Plus and ESPN Plus.
Joe Buck, former color analyst for the Missouri Tigers, working with our friend Mike Crelio across the way. Little piece of trivia there.
Oh, dynamite drop in, Fran.
There you go.
Let's go way back. By the way, I had to change my flight. Chiefs are playing the Chargers tonight, Sunday night. So I'm flying out of St. Louis instead of Kansas City. Nobody wants to be in that traffic, right?
Smart move.
Here's Gray. Played in the SEC with South Carolina last year. Had a fantastic season.
Good free agent pickup.
Shot clock at 4. Bork, step back. It's funny but accurate you call it a free agent pickup. Keith Campbell yesterday around College Game Day was tweeting out news about football players returning or not returning. He didn't say that they recommitted. He said that so-and-so has agreed to terms.
Daniels, the quarterback from KU.
Yeah, Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, he agreed to terms. All right, so Gray's going to take a break. That's okay. Now we're going to bring in another 300-pound, 7-footer, Peyton Marshall, who, by the way, as you know, Tom, was outstanding against Cal in that second half comeback where they trailed 16 at the half.
Marshall is 7 feet tall, 300 pounds. He arrived at Overtime Elite in Atlanta a couple of years ago at 336. He's a St. Louis native. He grew up a big Jason Tatum fan. No surprise there. Bates. Nope. How can Kansas get back in this? And it's 12 and a half, enough time.
I was going to say, if he made that, it wouldn't have been bad. Got to play quicker now and take some chances like that 3.
Shaw stepped on the end line. I felt like Missouri against Cal came back because they played with no cares. They played with their hair on fire, able to come back from an 18-point deficit. A little bit different playing with the lead.
That's right. And if you're Kansas, you got to throw caution to the wind. You don't have to take bad shots, but if you got a quick three in the open court, take them.
Jayhawks have made 5 of their last 7. They're going to get Peyton Marshall for his second.
Sounds crazy, Tom, but if you get it to 10 with 8 minutes to go, we've seen anything happen, especially at this level.
And don't forget about this series. The last time they met as conference mates, both wins on either team's home floor featured massive comebacks, including Thomas Robinson game in Lawrence. Jayhawks were down 18 to 0.
Exactly right.
Theo Barrett on the floor for the first time, number 5 in goal. Dorr couldn't follow his own miss. Dickinson picks it up.
They'll extend the pressure a little bit, but they're not a pressing team, so they've got to get it done in the half court. And DeJuan Harris is going to guard Bates because no one else has slowed him down today.
This may be the most unexpected result if Missouri keeps it up in the rivalry. Remember, this is the rivalry that goes so far back that James Naismith himself was 0 for 2 in games against Missouri. Blocked by the big fella. Perkins with the swat. Tigers by 16, though Kansas has life. It's an 8-0 run for number 1. Well, this is an incredible rivalry, and Missouri has the upper hand in this matchup. Next 2 will be in Kansas City in this series. Kansas leads the all-time series 175-95, but the history is really unrivaled. Fog Allen played in the very first game between these 2 programs, and Norm Stewart dropped 22 on Kansas in 1956, handing them their first ever loss in Fog Allen Fieldhouse.
And James Naismith is 0-2 versus Missouri.
Yep, I heard that somewhere. By the way, when this rivalry started, 1907, there were only 45 states in the Union. Oklahoma would come on board later that year. Mention that comeback for Kansas, and last time they were Big 12 rivals. Harris off the mark. Missouri came back earlier that year by down 19.
Good shots. Good shots. Got to take them.
Got to knock them down.
He has not shot the ball well this year, DeJuan Harris. But first 3 years, although not a lot of attempts, very accurate. Those are the shots that you got to take and you got to make.
Harris digs in. Got to knock it away for Marshall. Bates has a size advantage. Shot clock at 4. Working on Coit. Now it's at 1. And Dickinson got in the way of that one. Hunter Dickinson, another double-double. He's got 14 and 10, his 4th of the year.
You and I were watching that Cal game the other night here. And in the first half, Cal went on, what, an 18-0 run?
Yep, 17-0 to end the half. And quite a run.
Yeah.
Missouri looked dead in the water. But to your point, Missouri's capable of giving up a run like that.
Exactly.
Tigers came back and shot 86% in the second half as Marshall hits the bench. Harris lost his man. And it turns into an unguarded 3 from David Coit, second bucket of the game.
Now, if you're a KU fan, you're kind of wishing Harris had made the last one. You'd be down 10. But still doable and a little bit more pressure. KJ's got to be careful. He's got 3. Missouri's got to be careful that they don't put the game on ice too quickly.
Kansas on an 11-0 run, and the Tigers without a bucket last 4 minutes plus. And we got an injury on Anthony Robinson the second. Down on the baseline on the right side, and that's why we get the stoppage of play. Looks like a cramp.
By the way, you see the young man in the neck brace right there. That's the leading scorer for Missouri, who, as you mentioned earlier, Caleb Grill was out another couple weeks. Got hurt against Lindenwood.
He was in good spirits before the game, despite the next race, and he's excited to have Kansas on the schedule.
Disappointed he's not playing against them.
From Wichita, his dad played for the Shockers. Warwick, another shot clock violation, and there's room for Kansas. It is only a 13-point Missouri lead.
One of the dangers when you do have this kind of lead, and we have said how judicious they are in the half court, is you still have to look to score when the shots are there.
Trent Pierce back on the floor for Missouri, and Bates will get a breather.
Kansas,
Missouri without a bucket the last 4:37.
Yeah, if Kansas hits a three here, Dennis Gates will call timeout, and then we'll have a ball game.
Where do you go for Kansas?
I think you still got to play through Hunter, but you got to shoot the open three.
On Harris downhill, out to Coit. Coit 10th in the country in threes last year. Dickinson mid-range.
There you go.
Here comes Kansas. It's a 13-0 Jayhawk run.
I'm watching Dennis Gates right now. He's not going to call a timeout.
Downhill, Perkins, no, blow the body. This has been a series of comebacks, and Kansas trying to author a giant one. They were down 24, and now they're inching their way back in. Juwan Harris, the hometown kid, has cut it to a 9-point deficit, a 15-0 Jayhawk run.
Hey, it's never over with that much time. Take a look right here. The drive, the kick. Hunter hasn't been able to get close to the rim, knocking down the short one. And then Harris with the little Gretzky behind the net, looking for somebody. Figures out that he can make that shot, and he does. And that's when Dennis Gates decides to settle his team down right now.
You feel like Missouri maybe went, not totally prevent defense, but took their foot off the throttle a little bit on the offensive end?
It's human nature. Anybody who's coached a team with this kind of lead in this kind of game has done that, because we keep complimenting them because when they don't fast break, they're good in the half court. But they got a little too patient in those last few possessions.
15 turnovers in the first half, 4 in the first 10 minutes of the second half.
Tom, when you look at the turnovers in the first half, they average about 10 a game. So assuming 5 is right at their number average, they gave away 10 possessions in the first half where they didn't have a chance to score.
Missouri fans on pins and needles thinking, here we go again. Perkins missed the layup last possession, took it right to the rack. He's running the point for Missouri with Anthony Robinson on the bench due to injury.
Looks like he's going to come back in. He and Bates. Question now, who scores for Missouri?
Perkins, 8. Lost the ball, shot clock at 5. Going to be guarded. Trying to find some space and threw it off the back rim. Jayhawks have scored the last 15. The lob knocked away by Mitchell. Oh, what an exclamation point that would have been.
Yeah, I thought that was a little bit too much there from Juwan Harris with the length that Missouri has. Good defensive play right there by Mitchell.
So Anthony Robinson back, along with Tamar Bates.
They're going to get a shot next time down, I can tell you that, with Bates back out there.
Harris, 88th consecutive start for Kansas today. Adams too strong. You good with that look?
No, that's not KJ's game. I would have been a little more judicious and tried to play through Dickinson.
Once again, Missouri using plenty of clock. And a foul by Storr. We got a jump ball, possession arrow to Kansas.
Well, you know Bates is going to be the aggressive one, but that time Storr not only stayed in front, But good defenders always try to steal the ball with two hands. See, perfectly done by A.J. Storr. When you steal it with one hand, you have a tendency to come down on the arm.
Kansas in 2012 erased a 19-point deficit to win at home. Can they find that magic on the road? Off the rim for Harris. Dickinson ripped from behind by Robinson. Missouri's been in a drought for 6.5 minutes. That nearly solved it. Perkins battles and gets it. And here comes Coit's shot out of cannon. That is another layup missed. Gray downhill. Foul by Dickinson. Second personal foul on Dickinson. Do the Jayhawks have enough to battle back?
Anthony Robinson's steal right here might have been the play of the game. Comeback is alive by Kansas. Watch the sophomore. Going to the basket. Nope. You talk about a momentum changer. That could be it.
Next Saturday, SEC Network has a men's basketball triple header for you. Arizona matches up with the surprising Florida team, 13th in the country. And Grand Canyon takes on Georgia. Both of those games, State Farm Arena in Atlanta. Then 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central. I'll be at this one. Number 10 Bama gets Creighton. Team that just knocked off Kansas. How about Florida, 9-0 on the year? Missouri led by 14.5. The lead as large as 24. Kansas has cleaned up its turnover issue, but Missouri looking for its first win against number 1 since a double overtime win in '97 against a Kansas team, I said this earlier, that was loaded with NBA stars. Paul Pierce, Jock Vaughn, Rick Prince ended up in the league, among others. Ryan Robertson, the St. Louis native, had a taste of the league.
Was my man Jason Sutherland in that game?
He was. He and Derek Grimm.
He caused a little havoc, I'm sure.
His name came up talking to Bill Self pregame, didn't it?
Yes, it did. We were talking about
hard-nosed players.
Hard-nosed players, yeah.
Easton may be watching today. Josh Gray goes 1 of 2 from the line. All right, Kansas, we know that they have a run in them. How do they keep it going?
Same thing they're doing. Stop them, don't turn it over, take a good three, or go inside. 12-0 run is not impossible for this team.
They missed a couple of gimmies at the rim. Now they get into Dickinson, who hurts his knee coming into the rim. You hope that was just knocked knees. He couldn't get that left foot on the ground and hop with the ball and turn it over.
There's a little shovel pass. Little contact. I would say in a game like this, it's a play on. And Hunter just lost his balance.
Instead, it is the 21st turnover of the game for Kansas. Tigers have turned.
Bill wanted a foul.
He said, why do you think he walked? Why do you think he walked? Missouri has turned the first 20 turnovers into 23 points.
I think he had an argument with that. I mean, when he got hit and then traveled, I probably would have called a late foul, honestly. As a coach, I know I would have been as upset as Bill.
Jayhawks have scored 15 of the last 18. Mitchell for 3. Not his strength. A.J. Storr with the rebound. Thought about it.
Got it. Can't be afraid to shoot that ball.
Harris past Mitchell, high off the glass. Another missed bunny for Kansas. Jayhawks retain possession.
Tommy, in this comeback by Kansas, that's the third layup they've missed that would have carved into that 12-point deficit. DeJuan Harris is going to make that layup 90% of the time.
Storr, mid-range. Missouri's goal defensively, and they nearly turned it over. They did turn it over. Was to get Kansas to shoot some of those same shots they forced up against Creighton. Storr can't cash in.
He's paid a lot of money to make that shot. Got to make that shot.
Didn't used to say that out loud, did we?
No, it's true. Seriously.
He's 1 of 6 from the floor, 0 for 2 from deep.
That's the reality.
Mitchell. And Missouri will reset 10 on the clock. Stripped away. 2-on-1. Coit late to score. Bad execution for the Jayhawks on that one. Harris. What a dump off. And another miss at the rim. Perkins tees it up. Early shot with a 12-point lead.
But Missouri is opening the door for Kansas.
Perkins is hurt. He commits the foul to get off the floor. It is his third personal foul. Dennis Gates out to check out. My gut tells me that if Kansas closes his comeback, it's going to be Dajuan Harris who gets it done for him one way or another.
He is, but I have to tell you, if you're a Kansas fan, you're pulling your hair out because they've had 5 opportunities to cut into this lead while Missouri has not scored.
It may seem odd that a kid from Columbia has had so much success at Kansas, but the rivalry has had crossovers before. The famed or infamous William Control was a school teacher in Lawrence, Kansas, before he burned down your favorite hotel.
Exactly, the Eldridge Civil War guy.
And Fog Allen was born in Jamesport, Missouri.
How about the Sandbotons?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, they're Missouri basketball royalty in the whole state, right? Whole
Lisa
family.
and Mike, and then
Lisa's son?
Yeah, Parker.
Parker. Hey, Christian.
Yeah, Christian more notable, obviously. Parker was in this game last year. Missouri, one of its last 11. Jayhawks haven't taken advantage, missing their last 6.
And they're running out of time because they've thrown away some good opportunities.
Adams gives it up. Coit. Got it. That is his third 3 of the game. He's been 50% from 3 of the last 3 games for the Jayhawks. Tigers have gone ice cold, 1 for their last 11.
Now the difference with this Missouri team that's on the floor now is you have Bates, who's been a bucket today. That could have been a push off.
Gray fires the 3. That was a deep 2. It was also a no yes, and Gates dapped him up on his way past.
You know, he was 1 for 1 from 3 this year. The guy's got range.
I guess he does. Harris too strong. Dickinson misses another, and he turns it into an and 1.
Watch Harris now again. Opportunity to score. Dajuan Harris usually going to make this, but Dickinson in the right place. Good extra effort right there.
Dickinson 65% from the line this year. It is down to single digits.
Missouri almost threw that ball away.
Adams slacks off Mitchell a little bit. Now in his range. And the dig down by Storr results in a foul.
Let's see if it's not going to be a shooting foul, only the 14th foul. Shot clock resets. I thought Storr did a nice job there again, reaching in with 2.
Where's Missouri at its best in the half court? Because they haven't shown it lately.
I'll tell you what, they're really good on inbounds plays. They got about 8 of them. They may not be looking to score, and they're not. They're going to use some time.
Robinson trying to shake over the undersized Coit. Couldn't finish. Here's Harris. Since the renewal of this rivalry with Missouri in the SEC, it has been decidedly one-sided, but the Tigers trying to answer and get their first win against Kansas since they left the Big 12. Robinson, great sophomore season so far. Now Mitchell lost it. Gray finds it and promptly turns it over late in the clock. Dickinson downhill to Adams and one. And the veterans for Kansas have shown up late. First Dickinson, then Adams. And another chance for a three-point play in a 6-point game.
Crazier things have happened. Missouri's let up off the gas, and here comes Kansas.
It's one of the best rivalries in college basketball. Did feel like it was there the last few years. It's certainly back in a big way. Tom Hart, Fran Fraschilla. Kansas has mounted a comeback because they take care of the basketball.
Wow, down 24, right? And they have made a great run. If you're Missouri right now, I think you got to put the ball in Robinson's hands and Bates' hands, and you cannot play to lose. You have to play to keep scoring. Kansas right here, it's a two-possession game regardless of this free throw coming up. And if you're Missouri now, you can't get tight.
Missouri all-time has 4 wins against AP #1 opponents. 3 of them have come against Kansas. And it's been since 1997 that they've notched one. They have lost 13 in a row against top 5 opponents. The last time they did that was 2013 when Lawrence Bowers went for a double-double against Florida. So KJ Adams at the free throw line, just 69% on the season from the stripe. 2 years ago, he was a monster in this game. Sitting on 8 points. Crowd's not going to rattle him. This is the closest it's been since it was 12-7, 7 minutes into it. Marcus Allen had an opportunity there.
You're going to use clock, but I think you got to play through Robinson on the pick and roll or Bates on an ISO.
Dickinson comes out on Robinson. There's the double. Now Mitchell against A.J. Storr, and Storr commits his 4th.
Now, if you're Kansas, it's not a bad foul if Mitchell only makes 1 of 2. Because then you got a chance to trade his 1 for your 2 or 3. But obviously Mitchell has a different agenda. 63%, Tom, so he's missed a few. 61 overall.
This is the first. Mitchell, a junior from Kansas City. First Bishop Miege, then Sunrise Christian. Outside of Wichita, he was a McDonald's All-American. Started his career at Duke, committed to play for Krzyzewski. Spent 2 years with the Blue Devils. He goes 1 of 2 from the line.
Little token pressure here by Mizzou.
6-point game, 3 to play. Points hit some big ones today. And he drills another.
Great set. That was by design.
1 possession game. On their feet in Columbia. The lob to Mitchell, no good. Allen cleans it up with a foul. And he'll go to the line.
Watch the dribble handoff, which sets up the ball screens up top. And you see Dickinson just freeze Coit. Now, this young man going to the line, he's going to be a good player, Allen. He's a freshman, but he doesn't shoot a lot of free throws, but he's been accurate this year.
Allen, a freshman out of Norland High School in Miami, 14 of 15 from the free throw line on the season. ESPN top 100 recruit.
I love his form. Watch his form. It's going to be 2 dribbles and then up. Not a lot of thinking.
Got them both. Couple of huge shots for the freshman number 4. And Teal Barrett replaces him. Lee Coward wore number 4, hit 2 shots against number 1 Kansas, including one at Kemper Arena in the Big 8 tournament.
Same play, let's see. Ball screen.
Harris hangs and hits, and he's fouled.
Oh, yes. I'll tell you what Harris did. Everybody thought it was going to be the same play to hand off, and watch his defender fall asleep, and Harris goes right to the basket. Look at that. Draws the contact from Mitchell. And that is the play of a fifth-year senior.
They've had opportunities at the rim. Kansas just 8 for 15 at the rim this game. 3-point play for DeJuan Harris. It's a 2-point Missouri lead, what was once a 24-point advantage.
And you want to make Missouri earn it and not foul them. And then you still want to look for Bates right there.
Bates kicks it to the corner. Whoa! That was an arrow for Mark Mitchell. Missouri back up by 5. Bates gambles. Harris will reset with 15. Driving on Gray. Dickinson can't. Gray the board, and then Dickinson a reach-in foul with 1:39 to play. It's the 4th on Dickinson.
Mark Mitchell, we talked about it. Kansas has given him the shot from the corner all day. He keeps shooting it, and you know what? That's the basketball gods, man. Give him credit for having the confidence to knock it down when they needed it most.
Kansas City kid giving his first taste of this historic rivalry.
Tom, that's 2 more layups Kansas missed on that end.
Josh Gray, his 3rd SEC stop, started at LSU, then South Carolina for 3 years. Oh, dead on that one.
That's what we call the basketball gods.
They're smiling on this Missouri team that has lost 10 of 11 head-to-head with Kansas. It was a 3-point game just a moment ago.
Violation. Doesn't matter.
Leads back to 7. And as Gates wanted to get a sub, he sends Aiden Shaw back to the bench. He's going to keep Gray in, even though Gray isn't a great free throw shooter. 97, the last time Missouri knocked off number 1. Point from deep. Back rimmed it. Robinson came out with it.
Think you got a foul if you're Kansas.
Dickinson tried to. And a good feed. Ends up with a Tamar Bates bucket. Missouri stretched the lead to 9. 27 for Tamar Bates. Dickinson for 3. Over the back, I believe, on Gray. That'll stop the clock. Tamar Bates cleaning it up on the other end.
Yeah, but terrific. Watch the pass right here by the sophomore. And Tamar with a, I wouldn't say a career night, but certainly you've mentioned so much history today in this great rivalry, all the great performances. Right now at what, 27? He's going to.
And Bates means something more to him. The Kansas Player of the Year, Piper High School.
Yes.
In Kansas City, just over the state line. KJ Adams waiting at the free throw line. So it'll only be the 10th free throw attempt of the game for the Jayhawks. Missouri's been to the line 26 times. How's that for distraction?
What I love about this rivalry is you go back through time. Bud Stallworth and Thomas Robinson, Lee Coward, Anthony Peeler.
Charles Hankey in the fights from 1960. In the football rivalry, Civil War veterans on either sideline. 11 for Adams.
Ron Franklin and I did that 1916 game.
I think he did. Ron may have done the 1891 football game. They met for the first time. The best. 1 minute to play. Adams with a foul at the sideline. Missouri leading by 7.
Well, 24-point deficit, cut down to 1 possession. Kansas couldn't make a couple of baskets that looked like they were chippies. Mizzou is taking advantage.
So here's Anthony Robinson the second. Scored 29 last time out. He has tripled his season average. Dickinson on the bench now with 1 minute to play. He's got 4 fouls. Conley drains them both. Gray will re-enter. Nope. When you play 11 guys, sometimes you change your mind. Dennis Gates has tightened rotation just a hair today. Jayhawks shooting 36% from deep. Point has been the main. Got off balance. Under a minute to play. Mitchell fouled. And he'll go to the free throw line.
When you're down 9, you have to shoot the 3.
Fans may have thought this thing was wrapped up in the first half. It certainly wasn't, because that 24-point lead nearly whittled away.
You mentioned it a couple times, the Kansas City kids today, Mitchell and Bates. They're going to remember this one for a long time.
Kansas, Missouri, both hot after Mark Mitchell when he was a high school player before deciding to head to Duke. He was a McDonald's All-American, ACC tournament champs with Duke. They went to the Elite Eight last year. Lost to NC State. Whoa, missed it. Kansas with 50 seconds to play. Thought about a deep 3. Riley Griffin now. No. And it's knocked out of bounds by Aiden Shaw. Tamar Bates went down hard. And they're saying that ball went off of Kansas. Will be Missouri basketball as Tamar Bates looks to catch his breath.
He and KJ Adams got caught on this rebound. Take a look right here. And he did fall hard. This was SEC football. The opponents would be upset that he stayed down there.
It probably would be. 27-point night for Bates to go with 5 steals. And perfect from the free throw line. It's Missouri basketball.
Dennis Gates asked in a press conference earlier in the week, can we get 11 in? Or can 7 and 11 in the SEC get in? And I absolutely think so.
I don't know if there's a limit.
Nope.
Touchdown pass to Mitchell. Tiger turnover, 36 seconds left. White is it 4 threes. Now he opts for the 2.
I think you got to shoot the 3 there.
He's got 14. Kansas down 7. Well, if you're looking for late bursts in the history of this rivalry, in 2012, your buddy Marcus Denman scored 9 points in 71 seconds when Missouri came from behind here on this court. Does Kansas have a guy that can give a spurt like that?
No, because they can't. You know, that's why you have to shoot the 3. If you make, like the last 2 shots were 2s, but if you make a 3 and then make another 3, you carve into this lead more. As it is, David Boyd adds to his scoring, but it doesn't help him because it's 7 points. It's still 3 possessions, and there's only 33 seconds. You need a little luck here. You're going to throw the full court press on. You're going to gamble and try to steal it. You got to foul quickly. The next Kansas foul will mean 2 free throws for Missouri. Not impossible, but more improbable if you're just going to shoot, take the layup, because you've got to take chances when you're down.
It's been a great season for the SEC already. The SEC 44 and 15 on the year after Vandy knocked off TCU earlier today.
I don't think there's any way that the SEC will not be the best league in the country come March. The analytics will stay where they are. They're number 1 right now. they will remain #1 all season long because of the incredible non-conference performances.
That 44-15 is against major conferences this season. Big comeback for Kentucky last night against Gonzaga. Missouri has led for 37-41 of 37-50 so far today. Foul in the corner, charged to Zeke Mayo. Kansas got court stormed earlier this week, Wednesday at Creighton.
Well,
put your football helmet on because they might be coming here today.
Yep. When you are Kansas, we said it before, every single game you play is the biggest game usually on somebody else's schedule.
Tamar Bates having a monster game. He is 7 for 7 from the free throw line. And he remains perfect.
I'll say this, Tom, watching Kansas play for 22 years, not everybody is suited to wear that uniform with the idea that every single night is a prize fight. It's just the way it is.
The coach is suited for it.
The coach is a Hall of Famer, and more often than not, they have those kind of guys, but they're going to have to grow up quickly and figure out that that's going to be the case in the Big 12.
29-point afternoon for Tamar Bates. And a great ovation for the 6th-year player. Here's Juwan Harris. Time running out on the Jayhawks. Mayo passes up the 3 and then kicks it back out. He should have shot that one.
No question.
Here's Harris, contested 3 now. Rebound ripped down by Perkins, and Missouri will knock off #1 for the first time since 1997. This storied rivalry lives up to its billing this afternoon. Dennis Gates uses a timeout, and he has to wave off the half-dozen fans who got an early start on a court storming. Gates is giving Kansas an opportunity, if they want, to head back to the locker room, I think. Kansas will have to sneak out the side door. Dennis Gates says, go ahead, go.
Now, if I were Bill Self, I would say,
that's what he's saying.
You stay right where you are, Kansas, because we will see you next December. You can't coach 2 teams. I know what Dennis is trying to do. He doesn't want anybody getting hurt, but it's a good win.
Missouri knocks off #1 Kansas in a series that dates to 1907. An unexpected Tigers upset. Rivalry was renewed. Kansas got the first home game. Missouri went in there and got absolutely walloped. They have closed the division between the 2 teams, maybe not the programs, but the 2 teams with the win today. Tamar Bates told you, he said.
He told me yesterday they had a great practice. They were ready.
Dennis Gates was ready. All right, let's talk to Tamar Bates about this win against #1. Tamar, you told Fran yesterday what was going to happen. What about your background as a Kansas City kid drew more emotion for you and your team to knock off #1?
Man, it just meant a lot more to the team, a lot more to the guys. We came up short against Kansas the past 2 years when rivalry got renewed, so I mean, for me, I just wanted to do my part and lead these guys. Obviously, being from Kansas, I just wanted to show that, you know, this is a place that you can come play ball and win big-time games here.
What did you guys prove today?
That we one of the best teams in the country, and we didn't need to beat Kansas to show that. We knew that since June, since we've been here. We knew what we had in that locker room. It was just only a matter of time before everybody saw it.
You and Mark, 2 local kids, you did your job. How about the performances of the big guys and Robinson and all the other guys that made this happen?
I mean, I saw it right after the Cal game, I saw the look in their eyes and how ready they were. I mean, it's just a testament to their work. Josh Gray was really locked in. I'm always on his heels really bad every day, and he responded. Coach Gates always holds us accountable, and I mean, Josh Gray got the job done.
Hey, before we let you go, your journey has taken you through all the college basketball stops, but it started in Kansas City. Look around. What do you think about what you brought to this place?
It's beautiful, man. I mean, I knew when I came home or came closer to home, I wanted to leave this place better than I found it. I wanted to have a better response from what we showed last year and just show that, like I said, we can play big-time basketball here at Missouri. And, man, I mean, it's a beautiful thing. My daughter's here. My whole family's here. Like, I can't wait to see her. I'm going to try and do my best to get through this sea of people, but it's just beautiful to be able to.
You just put your name in the history books.
Yes, sir.
First win against #1 since '97. Congratulations.
Appreciate you, boss.
Tamar Bates and Missouri knock off #1 Kansas. Dennis Gates and Missouri with a historic win in a rivalry that dates back to Civil War hostilities. This was fun. We got more college basketball coming your way. We'll get to the Fort Worth, Texas Dickies Arena. It's Texas A&M and Texas Tech. For Fran Frischel, I'm Tom Hart. Enjoy your Sunday, everybody.